everyone wants these big, significant life changes, right? But actually sticking to the small steps you need to get there, well, that's often the real challenge.
It really is.
So today we're diving into James Clear's Atomic Habits. It's this hugely popular book that basically promises that tiny, almost invisible 1% changes can genuinely transform your life.
Yeah, it's quite the claim.
Exactly. And this isn't just about, some fleeting motivation boost. It's supposed to be a framework built on, well, understanding how we actually work, human behavior.
Mm-hmm.
So our deep dive today, it's all about digging into the source material. We've got excerpts, breakdowns, the works to pull out the most impactful stuff for you.
Kind of a shortcut.
Yeah, exactly. A shortcut to understanding how you can build the good habits, maybe break some bad ones, and really grasp the surprising power of these, well, atomic changes.
And it's interesting, where the book actually came from. Clear's own story is pretty compelling.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, he apparently started piecing these ideas together during his recovery from a really serious accident.
Wow.
And it was through that slow process he realized the huge long-term effect of just making these small, consistent, incremental adjustments day after day.
Huh. So it wasn't just theory, it was lived experience.
Right. That personal experience of, just showing up, doing the tiny thing, even when progress felt completely invisible. That really shaped the core idea.
That makes a lot of sense. It gives it weight. Okay, so let's unpack this idea then. Atomic habits. When you hear atomic, you think tiny, right? Almost insignificant.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, minuscule.
And that's exactly the point. The core idea is that these little changes, they feel almost useless in the moment. Like, what difference does meditating for 1 minute make?
Right. It feels like nothing.
But they compound dramatically over time. I mean, the math he uses is pretty startling if you get just 1% better each day.
Which sounds manageable.
It does. But do that every day and you end up like 37 times better after a year. It's kind of hard to wrap your head around that scale.
It really is. And what's fascinating, I think, is how he flips the script on how we usually approach goals. Well, he argues we shouldn't really aim to change the results directly, focusing only on losing the weight or writing the book.
Okay.
Instead, the real leverage, the real power, comes from changing the system that produces those results.
Oh, the system. Okay.
Yeah. He puts it really well. He says, habits are the compound interest of self-improvement.
Ooh, I like that. Compound interest. It paints a picture.
It does, doesn't it?
Yeah.
It captures that nonlinear growth, that exponential curve that happens from small, consistent efforts, not from, one massive weekend overhaul that fizzles out.
Right. We've all tried those. So if we're changing the system, not just chasing results, how does that actually work? How do we, measure progress without just looking at the finish line?
Well, that leads into a really insightful part of his framework, how habits actually shape your identity.
Identity. Okay. Tell me more.
So he breaks behavior change down into 3 layers. Think of it like an onion.
Okay.
On the outside, you've got outcomes. That's what you get. The results.
Right. The weight loss, the published article.
Exactly. Then the next layer in is processes. That's what you do. Your workout routine, your writing schedule.
Got it.
But the core, the deepest layer, is identity. Tell us what you believe about yourself.
Ah. Okay. So thinking about that, for you listening, which layer do you usually focus on when you try to change something? Is it the outcome, the process, or that deeper identity level?
It's a really important question because almost everyone defaults to focusing on the outcomes. I want to lose 10 pounds.
Guilty as charged.
Right. But Clear really pushes us to focus on becoming the kind of person who achieves those goals.
So less, I want to run a marathon. More,
I am a runner, even if you're just starting with a jog around the block.
I am a runner. Why is that shift so powerful, do you think? What's the magic there?
Well, I think the biggest hurdle for people is often that lack of immediate gratification. Identity change feels slower.
Yeah, you don't instantly feel like a runner?
Exactly. But the power is long-term. It's not about hitting one external goal. It's about an internal shift. Every time you lace up your shoes, even for 2 minutes, it casts a vote. It's evidence reinforcing that new identity.
A vote for being a runner. Okay, I get that. It reframes the small actions. When I first read about these 4 laws, it suddenly clicked how much I'd just been relying on sheer willpower before.
Gritting your teeth.
Totally. And this framework, it just shifts the whole approach. It's less brute force, more smart design. He doesn't just talk theory. He gives us this practical toolkit, the 4 laws of behavior change. This is where it gets really hands-on.
It really does. So the first law is make it obvious. This ties directly to the trigger in that habit loop we all have.
Okay, make it obvious, like putting your running shoes by the door.
Exactly like that,
Yeah.
creating really visible reminders. And a key strategy he talks about is using an implementation intention.
Implementation intention sounds fancy.
It just means being super specific. You
Ah.
state clearly, I will do this behavior at this time in this location.
Ah, so not just I'll meditate more.
No, it's I will meditate for 2 minutes at 7 a.m. in my living room. That precision, it seems to remove the ambiguity, the chance to procrastinate.
Yeah, it takes the decision-making out of the moment, doesn't it? Which is often where things fall apart.
Mm.
Why do you think we skip that specific planning step so often? We just say the vague thing.
I think, honestly, it feels like extra work. Or maybe we think we'll just remember or feel like it. But our brains love clarity and the path of least resistance. This gives it that.
True. And building on making things obvious, there's another technique he mentions, habit stacking.
Yes, that's a great one.
This is where you piggyback a new habit onto one you already do without thinking. Like, after I pour in my morning coffee, I will think of one thing I'm grateful for.
Perfect example. Or, after I brush my teeth, I will floss one tooth.
Oh.
You're linking the new desired behavior to something that's already automatic.
Making it the next logical step. Very clever. Okay, so that's law one. Make it obvious. What's next?
Law 2 is make it attractive. This focuses on the craving part of the loop. Our brains are wired to chase dopamine, that feel-good chemical. So habits need to feel appealing, desirable.
Right, you have to want to do it on some level.
Exactly. And a cool tactic here is temptation bundling.
Temptation bundling. Sounds fun.
It is. You pair something you want to do with something you need or should do.
Ah, like the classic example. I will only watch my favorite Netflix show while I'm on the treadmill.
Precisely. You make the reward, watching the show, contingent on doing the habit exercising. You're basically hijacking your desires to build good habits.
Sneaky. Okay, obvious, attractive. What's law 3?
Law 3 is make it easy. This tackles the response, the actual doing of the habit. And the core idea here is, honestly, to start incredibly small. Ridiculously small.
Smaller than you think you need to.
Much smaller.
Yeah.
This is where Clear introduces his famous 2-minute rule.
Ah, yes, the 2-minute rule.
The rule is basically, when you start a new habit, it should take less than 2 minutes to do.
Less than 2 minutes.
Yeah. So read before bed becomes read one page. Do yoga becomes take out my yoga mat.
It almost sounds, well, a bit silly, doesn't it? If your goal is big, like reading a whole book, reading one page seems pointless.
It does on the surface.
Yeah.
But the point isn't about achieving the goal in that moment. It's about mastering the art of showing up. It's about making the start of the habit as easy as humanly possible.
Because starting is the main hurdle.
Often, yes. Once you've read one page, maybe you'll read more. But even if you don't, you've kept the habit alive. You've cast that vote for your identity. Repetition is more crucial than perfection, especially at the beginning.
Right. Doing it daily, even tiny, beats doing it perfectly once a week. Okay, that makes sense. It lowers the activation energy.
Exactly. And that leads us to the final law, Law 4, make it satisfying. This targets the reward part of the habit loop.
Okay, gotta feel good.
Absolutely. Our brains are wired to repeat actions that feel good, that give us some kind of reward. This is fundamental.
So how do we manufacture that satisfaction, especially for habits that don't have an immediate payoff, like saving money or eating healthy?
Great question. This is where things like habit tracking come in. Using a checklist, a calendar, an app. Just seeing your progress, making that check mark.
Yeah, putting an X on the calendar feels good.
It really does. It's a small, immediate form of satisfaction. It proves you did it.
Yeah.
He also talks about the don't break the chain method.
Right, keeping the streak alive.
Yeah, once you have a visual streak going, you become motivated not to break it. That consistency itself becomes rewarding.
That unbroken chain.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's definitely powerful. And I guess it's important to find ways to get that immediate reward, right? Especially early on to really cement the behavior.
Critically important. The human brain prioritizes immediate rewards over delayed ones. So find small ways to celebrate wins, even tiny ones, right after you complete the habit. That immediate positive feedback loop is what solidifies it.
Okay, obvious, attractive, easy, satisfying. That's a really solid framework for building habits. But it's one thing to build good ones. What about getting rid of the bad ones? The ones we really struggle with?
The sticky ones.
Yeah, like endlessly scrolling social media or stress eating, whatever it might be. How does this framework help there? Because sometimes these rules can feel a bit simplistic for really ingrained stuff, maybe even addictions. Does Clear address that?
That's a really fair point. And yes, It's crucial to say, for serious addictions or deeply ingrained trauma-based behaviors, professional help is often needed beyond just this framework.
Okay, important caveat.
Definitely. But for most common bad habits, the logic is actually quite elegant. You just invert the 4 laws.
Invert them. How?
So instead of make it obvious, you make it invisible. Instead of attractive, you make it unattractive. Instead of easy, you make it difficult. And instead of satisfying, you make it unsatisfying.
Okay. So you're basically increasing friction and reducing the appeal.
Exactly. You're taking away the cues, adding steps, highlighting the downsides, and removing any immediate reward.
So let's take that social media example, making it invisible.
Maybe delete the apps from your phone, or at least hide them from the home screen. Turn off all notifications. Those are cues.
Okay. Making it unattractive.
You can focus on the downsides, the wasted time, the comparison trap, how it makes you feel afterwards. Maybe even change your screen to grayscale. Less visually appealing.
Make it difficult.
Log out after each session. Use an app timer that locks you out after a certain period. Don't save your password. Add friction.
And unsatisfying.
Maybe tell someone, an accountability partner, how much time you spent. That social cost can make it less satisfying. Public accountability is powerful.
That's a great breakdown. You're systematically dismantling the things that make the bad habit easy and appealing. And this seems to lead right into another big idea in the book, doesn't it? The role of environment.
Absolutely. It's huge. Clear puts it starkly. Environment is the invisible hand that shapes human behavior.
The invisible hand. Wow.
Yeah. His point is, we often try to rely on willpower or motivation, but those things are finite. They fluctuate.
Totally. Some days you have it, some days you really don't.
Exactly. So instead of relying on willpower, he says, design your environment. Actively shape your surroundings to make the good choices, the easy, obvious choices, and the bad choices difficult or invisible.
It's like, stop fighting an uphill battle against your surroundings and make the surroundings work for you.
Precisely. It's a total game changer when you realize this. Simple things, right? Laying out your gym clothes the night before.
Reduces friction in the morning.
Keeping healthy snacks visible on the counter and the junk food hidden away. Or better yet, not even in the house.
It's out of sight, out of mind.
Mostly.
Mostly. And he also talks about the one space, one use principle.
Oh yeah, I like this one.
Try not to mix contexts. Your bed is primarily for sleep. Your desk is primarily for work. When you blur those lines, like working from bed, you weaken the association. Yeah, it creates mental clutter and makes it harder to switch modes. Okay, so environment is key. What else? Sometimes you do all this, you set up the system, you make it obvious, attractive, easy, satisfying, and you still feel like you're getting nowhere.
Ah, yes. The dreaded plateau.
Exactly. It feels like you're putting in the effort day after day, but the results just aren't showing up.
This is another really vital concept Claire addresses, mastering the plateau of latent potential.
Plateau of latent potential.
Okay? The idea is that growth, progress, it's almost never linear. You don't see steady, incremental results every single day.
Right. It feels like it should be linear, but it isn't.
No. Often, improvements are happening silently under the surface. You're putting in the reps, building the foundation, but the visible results lag behind. Then suddenly you hit a tipping point and it looks like an overnight success.
But it wasn't overnight at all.
Not at all. It was the compounding effect finally becoming visible. Clear calls that frustrating period before the breakthrough the valley of disappointment.
The valley of disappointment. That's apt. Because that's exactly where most people give up.
Exactly. They stop doing the small things because they don't see the immediate payoff, not realizing they're right on the cusp of that breakthrough.
So it's a powerful reminder then to just trust the system, keep showing up, stick to the process, even when you're deep in that valley and it feels pointless.
That's the core message. Consistency, especially when it's hard, especially when you can't see the results yet. That's where the real transformation happens. It's arguably the toughest part.
It really is, to keep going on faith, almost.
Absolutely. And, that's where another tactic can be incredibly helpful, especially for pushing through plateaus. Accountability.
Accountability. Having someone or something hold your feet to the fire.
Pretty much. It adds a layer of social consequence or external motivation. This can take different forms.
Like what?
Well, making public commitments can be surprisingly effective. Even just tweeting, I'm going to write 500 words every day this week.
Puts a bit of pressure on.
It does. Or using an accountability partner, someone you check in with regularly about your progress. Knowing you have to report back can keep you on track.
Yeah, you don't want to let them down. Or yourself.
Right. And then there are even more formal things, like habit contracts. Actually writing down what you commit to doing, and maybe even what the consequence is if you don't follow through.
Wow, like putting a penalty on skipping.
Yeah, it sounds intense, but for some people, that structure is exactly what they need to stay consistent, especially through that difficult valley of disappointment.
Okay, so pulling all these threads together, it seems the ultimate message here, the real truth about making lasting change according to Atomic Habits, isn't just about setting big goals.
No, not primarily.
It's more about becoming the kind of person who naturally does the things that lead to those goals. Building that identity, vote by vote, action by action, every single day.
That's it exactly. You focus on the system because the system builds the identity, and ultimately that identity shapes your future.
So, if we were to boil down the absolute key takeaways for someone listening, what would they be?
Okay, let's see. First, small habits really do lead to big results because of compounding. Don't underestimate the 1%. Second, start small, ridiculously small. Use the 2-minute rule. Consistency trumps intensity.
Right. Show up.
Third, design your environment. Make good habits easy and obvious, bad habits hard and invisible. Don't rely just on willpower.
Smart design over brute force.
Fourth, track your progress. Make it satisfying. Celebrate the small wins. Don't break the chain.
Keep the momentum going.
And maybe most importantly, trust the process. Stick with it even when you're in that valley of disappointment, because breakthroughs often happen right after the point you feel like quitting. Systems, identity, consistency.
That's a great summary. Systems, identity, consistency. So let's leave everyone with this thought then, considering everything we've talked about. What's one single atomic habit, something tiny, maybe 2 minutes or less, that you could start doing today? Something that, if you did it consistently, could genuinely lead to a monumental change in your life over the next year?
Just one small thing.
And just as importantly, how could you immediately design your environment right now to make that specific tiny change not just easy, but almost inevitable?